Hi, this is Dean with the Worldwide Trekking YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about Mount Everest Base Camp, our trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. One of the most incredible journeys on the planet, trekking from village to village up the Khumbu Valley to see the big views, sights of Mount Everest and the surrounding mountains, of course. I wanted to give you guys 10 tips when you're planning and going on your Everest Base Camp adventure. So tip number one is choosing the right time of year. And the right time of year, basically in Nepal, there are two good trekking seasons, and that would be kind of the spring season, April, May, and then again in September, October, and November. April and May are a good time of year. It's when all the mountain camps are set up at Mount Everest because it's Everest climbing summit season for the climbers that climb on Mount Everest. So April and May are good times of year. It is a little more busy up at Everest Base Camp because all the groups are there getting ready to climb the mountains. When we get into June, July, and August, we want to avoid that time of year. That's their monsoon season, so it's going to be raining a lot. Sure, you could trek up there, but when the views are clouded and you can't see the high mountains, there's not really a great reason to go up the valley. We want to see those big mountain views. When we get into the fall season, September, October, November, October is the busiest time of year there. I like to go late October and into November to avoid the bigger crowds. The weather's still good. For me, I usually avoid September as well. You can go that time of year. Usually the monsoon breaks, but it is potentially monsoon lingering on, weather's not as good, and that can help aid to the fact that the flights getting in and out of the valley can be cloudy and canceled and things like that. October is the high season. The weather is going to be clear. The mountains are going to be in big view, and that's optimal for your trek as well. Flights getting over there. Once you've chose the time of year that you are going to go, either the spring or fall, you're going to be booking flights. So tip number two is booking flights over to Kathmandu. From wherever you're flying, say in the United States, you can fly either direction. From Los Angeles, you can fly over the Pacific Ocean, or from the East Coast, you could fly towards Europe. I, a lot of times, fly out of Utah, I fly into Dubai, and then from Dubai, I connect into Kathmandu. We usually avoid using a third-party vendor. Go right to the airlines and book your ticket, or use a travel agent. Third-party vendor, in case you need to adjust your flight, it's not going to be very easy to do if you use like an Expedia, an Orbitz, or Kayak, something else booking flights. Those third-party vendors are going to make it hard to change anything if you need to, say you have to delay getting home or something like that. So we usually go directly to the airlines, or a lot of times here at Worldwide Trekking, we suggest a travel agent that can help you book those flights. Another tip is your visa. When you arrive, you can purchase your visa. I've tried to do it online before, prior to arrival. We do that a lot of places around the world. It's easy enough to do when you land in Kathmandu. Be patient. You'll probably have to wait in some lines to get through customs and the visa process and things. But when you get off the flight, if you make your way into the arrival hall, there's kiosks there. They look like ATM machines. You can do all of your paperwork on the computer screen there. Take a photo of the final screen, go over to the visa desk. 30-day visa is $50 US for American citizens, and then you would proceed through customs, baggage claim, and after all that's done, you'll be heading out to meet your ride in Kathmandu. Gearing up, another good tip, gearing up. Before you come over, of course, you want to gear up. It's good to follow a good gear list. I have plenty of videos on packing for Everest Base Camp, and gearing up is really important. You want to have the layers that you need, but you don't want to bring so much extra weight. If you can bring just the things you need. Know that during your trek, we usually take a double night in Namche Bazaar and a double night in Farache. You can wash some socks, underwear, things like that. And then on the trek itself, you're wearing your trekking pants most of the days for a long time. Maybe have a second set for upper higher in the valley, a little warmer trekking pants, things like that. So you can get by with less, wearing them multiple days in a row. Usually I'm trekking in my trekking gear. When I get to the tea house, I put on sweats and something comfortable to be around the tea house in, and then put on the trekking gear and proceed out the next day. When you do arrive on your trip into Kathmandu, we usually, for our trips, give 2 nights in Kathmandu before we start our trek. You're going to be jet lagged. You're going to have traveled a long distance to get over to Kathmandu, and you'll want to have a little bit of a rest. You'll probably want to see some cultural sites. It's important these first 2 days to stay healthy. So making sure that you're getting rest, making sure that you're hydrating well after such long flights that oftentimes dehydrate you. In Kathmandu, really important to get rest, make sure you're hydrating, make sure you're eating. When you go out and about in the city, make sure that you're using hand sanitizer and keeping your hands clean before you eat. Staying healthy is super important. If the air quality is bad, limit your time out running around the city just to not get a little cough or cold in Kathmandu before you start your trek. And always drink bottled water in Kathmandu. Super important. Water's not terribly expensive, and I always drink bottled water when I'm in Kathmandu. When you're packing up and you're going to be going over in your trek, trail snacks are also really important. It's good to have some of your own trail snacks. So if you take a 1-gallon Ziploc bag and fill that full of like some fruit and nut bars and some snacks and some jerky and a variety of things, keep in mind when you get on the trek, on our trips, we order off the menu every night for your dinner. Unfortunately, the menus in the tea houses don't change. There's a lot of white carbs, not any meat after the second day of trekking, and the variety is a bit limited as you go. You can order breakfast type items like eggs for dinner and things like that, but it's a good idea to have some trail snacks. Keep in mind that when you get up higher in the valley at altitude, your appetite gets sluggish, but you need to eat and you need to stay well nourished to have the energy for your trekking days. So having some of those trail snacks really helps out when the appetite's sluggish. You have some of your favorites, a little beef jerky and that kind of thing to give yourself that extra fuel. Another thing I do, because hydration is really important, is I bring those little single packets of Emergency. It's a high vitamin little packet. Buy it in the grocery store, probably in the pharmacy section or the nutrition section. Just a little packet of powder. It doesn't add a lot of sugar, a lot of flavor, but it does add a little bit of flavor, raspberry, orange, things like that. So it helps you kind of finish off your water during the day. During the trek, for hydration, 3 to 4 liters a day is going to be good. You don't want to overhydrate, and you definitely don't want to underhydrate, so you're acclimatizing well and well hydrated when you get up into that thinner air, the more drier regions of the trek, and you're going through a lot of hydration while you walk each day. Acclimatization is super important. For us, another tip, we spend 2 nights in Namche Bazaar and 2 nights up in Farache at about 11,500 feet and just over 14,000 feet. On those acclimatization days, we take walks. We don't go overboard. We don't walk too much during the day. We make sure that we get out on our feet, go out for a few hours, look around, take a bit of a hike, but you also want to rest, recover, hydrate, eat, and be ready for the next day. Let your body catch up after a few days on the trail. 11,000 or so in Namche, and again up higher. It's a good idea to take that second day. Your body has to acclimatize. It doesn't matter who you are, how fit you are, how young you are, you still have to acclimatize acclimatize during the trek. So make sure that you take your acclimatization days during the trip, and make sure that you're eating and drinking as you go. Pay attention to yourself, pay attention to your partners. We do medical checks on each one of our trips to make sure that each day the guide is checking with each guest and making sure that they are acclimatizing properly. Another good tip is bringing some portable power. On the trek to Everest Base Camp, you would always need a power adapter in Kathmandu, and for the different outlets that are non-US style outlets when you're in Kathmandu or during the trek. There is places to charge in the tea houses where we stay in Namche Bazaar and up in Deboche. But when we get higher up in the valley, Farache, Lobache, Gorakshep, there's not available power for charging. Oftentimes you can give your device to the desk and they'll charge a fee for you to charge, say, a phone up for your photos and that kind of thing. I like to bring a small power bank and something that's going to get my phone charged like 3 times. And then when I'm in the upper portion of the valley, I limit my phone time aside from taking photos or videos or maybe a check-in online at a tea house. And that portable power bank helps charge my phone for those high village days that I want to be able to top it off, charge it, and make sure I'm good to go. A sleeping bag. Sleeping bag, along with all the gear list, your sleeping bag is really an important part of your trip because it's going to keep you comfortable and help you get rest each night. We recommend a 0 to -20 degree bag for the trek to Everest Base Camp. And it's not a matter of it being that cold out, it's a matter of you being warm and comfortable in it so your body can get rest. So when we go into a tea house, oftentimes they have a blanket, they have a pillow. Those are used by multiple people time and time again. We want to stay healthy, so I don't want to use a blanket that every other trekker in the valley has used, nor do I want to use the pillow that's provided. Sometimes I'll put a down parka that I have in a small stuff sack, something soft, and I'll use that as my pillow. I'll have a good down sleeping bag, 0 degree, -20 degree, depending on how you sleep, and it's going to help you get good rest, be comfortable in your sleeping conditions so you can rest well, stay healthy, not be using something that everybody else in the Khumbu Valley has used prior to you being there. It's really also important to stay healthy throughout the journey. So using hand sanitizer before you eat anything, a lot of times putting your buff up over your face when you get up into that drier air above, say, Deboche, where the valley opens up and the dust might be blowing in the air, covering your mouth, and breathing through a buff is always a good idea, and staying healthy along the way. The hand sanitizer anytime you eat, making sure that you're staying healthy is super important. And along with that, a lot of times I pack some over-the-counter basic travel medications, a little Pepto-Bismol, a little Imodium AD in case I get a little stomach bug and have a anti-diarrheal, and maybe some cough drops, some basic simple over-the-counter meds. You can take them all out of their boxes and package them up in a small container where everything is together and works out really good. Another med for acclimatization that we use is Diamox. Diamox is a carbonic inhibitor, and basically what it does, and I'll go over this in more detail in another video, but it helps you acclimatize more quickly. So if you use Diamox, we recommend 250 milligrams a day, which would be 125 milligrams that we take at breakfast, and then 125 milligrams that we take in the afternoon before dinner. It's a carbonic inhibitor. It's going to make you urinate more. It's going to have some side effects like carbonated beverages, like a soda would taste flat, or your fingertips or lips might get a little tingly when you're hiking and blood is pumping through your body. And it does help you acclimatize more quickly. I see oftentimes on our trips when we recommend it, there's always a few people that decide, I want to try to do it without it. And they get going. And within a few days, they want to take the Diamox Diamox, and then they're trying to catch up. Really, if you take a pill at home before you go to see what your side effects are, you'll kind of know that you're doing okay with it. And then when you get over there, if you just take it proactively before you do your trek and each day during your trek, you're going to be probably better off. We usually start taking the Diamox the day that we start trekking in, and we fly into the valley and start our trek. And then when we start to descend, we can stop taking the Diamox. The only side effect that is a good idea to take a pill before you go over to Nepal and start is some people, if you have a sulfa allergy, it might cause nausea. And if that's the case and you have a sulfur allergy, then you just go without it. But it is a good idea for those who don't, who can tolerate it, feel okay with it. It helps you acclimatize more quickly and probably a good idea. Another thing with acclimatization, I think it's really important if you're trekking to Everest Base Camp, you've hired maybe porters. On our trip, we have a whole local guide team. They're all Sherpa guys that we've worked with for years. They acclimatize really well. If you're going over on your own and you're hiring some porters along the way, they're oftentimes people that work in the valley that are actually from the low-lying areas of Nepal, and they aren't as used to the altitude. They might not think about drinking enough water and acclimatizing. Make sure your local team is safe, healthy, strong, and doing well. And another reason that they need the rest days too when we go up the valley. They need to acclimatize like anybody else. Some people have worked up there a while. They're well adjusted. Others aren't. But pay attention to your local team. It really is nice to make sure that they're safe as well. Lastly, I would say that on the trek to Mount Everest Base Camp, final tip is to pace it out. Enjoy the journey. There's no rush. And I know I see some groups that get delayed with weather problems on their flights in, and they're trying to make base camp and they're a day or so behind. You got to know that the mountains decide. The mountains aren't going anywhere. And the best thing to do is to start out early each morning, take time to go through the morning hours, stop and take a break, stop at a tea house, have some tea, let your body adjust to the altitude, have some snacks, continue on, and enjoy the journey at a nice, slow, steady pace. There's no rush to get up to base camp, and if you are delayed, that's the way it goes sometimes. And unfortunately, a delay getting in on a flight can prevent somebody from making it all the way to base camp and back out. We use helicopters on our trip, so we fly in with a helicopter. We have oftentimes a better opportunity to fly in the helicopter, and at the end, after we start to trek down, we get picked up in the helicopters as well, so we can usually adjust our plan to make it so people can get to base camp even if we have a slight delay. And it's part of the reason why groups go with worldwide trekking. Our guides are there to make sure that you're safe, enjoying the journey, having a good time, and everybody's doing well during the trek. Medical checks every day, giving everybody a lot of information as we go, and ultimately just having a great trip to Mount Everest Base Camp on the trek in Nepal. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We're always happy to answer those. This is just a quick list of some of the things to think about, a few tips as you prepare or going on your trip to Nepal. And we'd love to answer any questions that you might have. So always feel free to contact us directly. We'll get you signed on to a trip, or we'll get you set up in Nepal for your trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. Thanks again, and have a great day.